Hello, everybody, and welcome to Offhand Ideas. I am very, very excited for this episode today because I'm actually going to talk about something I don't usually normally talk about, and that is, I can't believe I'm saying this, a DC movie. Yes, I watch DC movies. My relationship with DC is just a lot of what they put out feels a bit rushed. Rushed is really my main thing when it comes to DC movies. Like when I go into like a theater going to see like I don't know Suicide Squad, but I did actually like the Suicide Squad, the first one. Yeah, I feel like they were just stitched together in post-production, and I can, like, kind of get, like, this was rushed vibe, and it's okay that this doesn't make sense because it had heavy reshoots and rewrites during post-production. And that's kind of what gives these movies a pass for me, because I know that's gonna be the case. I don't even have to tell you about Suicide Squad, Justice League, or even the Flash. They all had very troubled productions, and a lot of things were very rushed up in post. But today, I'm actually going to talk about a movie I saw very recently, last week actually, and it was about Superman. And no, I did not get an early screening to the James Gunn Superman coming out next year. No. I got to watch a movie about the real Superman. Christopher Reeves, and my god, that film was the best thing I have seen all year. Yes, hate me. Pick Wild Robot over that. I'm not changing my opinion because it just makes me mad knowing that a lot of big reviewers aren't talking about this because this film is an absolute masterpiece. I loved it so much, and it's just amazing, and I'm so shocked it hasn't been done sooner. And it's not a typical DC movie about someone saving the world, it's about Christopher Reeves and how he saved many other people's worlds by becoming Superman and giving them someone to look up to, which I think is just very inspiring. And, well, this is a biopic about part of Christopher Reeve's life. It mainly focuses on how the tragic accident of when he broke his neck, how that affected his entire life. And brief times throughout the movie, you get flashes to his earlier life. Like right after he broke his neck, there's a flashback to when he first got into acting when he was in high school and how he always wanted to please his father. And he thought the best way to do this was by playing Superman. And he did get the job for Superman, and unfortunately that did not impress his father or really anyone around him. A lot of people thought he was going to be a show-off or no one would take him seriously after that. Except for Robin Williams. That man is an absolute legend. And I actually learned that him and Christopher Reeves were like me and Mr. Sun back in the day. Yeah, and it was just so amazing. And then they talked about the production of the first Superman film on how when they first saw Christopher Reeves, he was just this skinny little kid, kind of like me. But then, like 3 months later, in that suit on set, he became Superman. It's very inspiring. And the first two Superman movies, they were part of my childhood, and they were colossal hits. They were both filmed back to back, and they both achieved commercial success and critical success, launching Christopher Reeves into stardom, making him an A-list celebrity. And then, well, it flashes back to when he had broken his neck and all the newspaper articles saying Superman may die. Superman has a shattered neck and he is in a hospital. Will he ever recover? And that is really sad, knowing that a lot of people are just getting worried that they may lose one of the most inspiring role models in Hollywood history to a broken neck, and him not being able to breathe on his own without a machine or walk without an electric wheelchair ever again. It really hurt a lot of people knowing that the Man of Steel who could not die is about to die, and really just broke people knowing that this impeccable figure who everyone knew could get better within like a month of just like resting could die and it really shook up a lot of people. And it really shook up Christopher Reeves too, because he was so scared if he was going to die, and his family was also horrified that like he may succumb to it. And it really was scary for so many people back then. My Mama J, who was an epic Superman fan, who lived out in the country, when she heard that news, oh my god, I've heard stories that she broke down, and it was crazy. It affected so many people. And I've grown up from a family of Marvel lovers. My grandpa, he was a fan of Wesley Snipes' Blade when it came out. Mama J was a fan. Yeah, I have two moms. Was a fan of Christopher Reeves' Superman, and it still is. But she's more of a Michael Keaton Batman fan from her teenage years. But yeah, and if I was living in that time, I'm sure I would be shaken up too, because I'm not a fan of one specific superhero. I love them all. And Superman's always like been a very an upstanding figure, and if I knew that the one person we knew who was Superman was going to die, that would shake me up too. And I feel that's really heartbreaking for a lot of people out there, especially his family. And the best scene in the entire movie, this is halfway through the movie, I'm definitely leaving stuff out, so because I want you guys to experience this on your own, because this film is just amazing. The Oscars scene. The Oscars scene was one of the most spectacular movie scenes I've ever seen in my life. What happened in that Oscar scene was that Christopher Reeves, while he was recovering from the injury, was invited to the Oscars to make an appearance. And Christopher Reeves was so worried, like, what's going to happen if I do accept this, and, like, how the world would react if, like, Superman was in a wheelchair and Superman couldn't walk. Like, he was scared that people may see him with sympathy. People may see him, like, with, oh, he's just wanting to make us feel sorry for him. He just wants us to just, like, aid him in his time of sadness. But he wanted to go and show everyone that, like, I'm okay, and that you should keep, and that, like, you guys should keep hoping, and I'm okay, and you guys can, like, keep believing, and you guys don't have to be sad anymore. And Robin Williams, who was his best friend, that man is an absolute legend. I love Robin Williams. He was an amazing guy, and that showed because he did everything in his power to get Christopher Reeves into the Oscars, no matter the costs. And that is just amazing that Robin Williams did that for Christopher Reeves. And once he got to the Oscars, Whoopi Goldberg announced his name in front of the entire crowd. And then just everyone started clapping, crying. Nicolas Cage shedded so many tears. I've never seen that man do it. And just so many people were just so happy that he was okay and that he was alive. Jim Carrey was there. Literally just so many people were there for Christopher Reeves when he needed them. And Christopher Reeves just said one of the most nicest things someone could ever say. I wouldn't have missed this welcome for the world. Thank you all. And it's just so sweet that like a kid who was maybe like injured or laughed at for like being different or in a wheelchair, like being born without a part of their body, they could see like the one and only Superman on television and see that like Superman is in a wheelchair. Superman has the same like disabilities I do. Superman has like all Superman, like, are you like made fun of because like you're a weirdo, or like you have like problems with your body? Superman has that. It's okay, kid. That like it's okay, and you don't have to be ashamed of who you are, which I think is just very inspiring. And I'm sorry I'm getting emotional just thinking about this movie. Just really like it's just really like inspiring on how Christopher Reeves did all of this. And Christopher Reeves wasn't done there. He wanted to show everyone that he could walk again, and he swore that he would walk again one day. And then it flashed to once Superman 3 and Superman The Quest for Peace were shooting, and it showed that Christopher Reeves, this was before the accident, he wasn't really loving the Superman role as he did back then, and that like Quest for Peace in 3, Superman 3, like he wasn't really having fun. It felt like they were only making these movies to this point, to the point of just making money, and they didn't really care what happened. And that can be blamed to a B-movie studio gaining the rights to Superman at this time, which can really fumble the bag when it comes to making a worthwhile sequel. And Christopher Reeves, who there was going to be a Superman 5 after Quest for Peace, but that never happened. It was going to feature Brainiac and Doomsday. If you want me to make a video on that, just let me know. But he wasn't really having fun. He wanted to play Superman, but as long as he had fun doing it and thought it was worthwhile. And it didn't really help that his other films that were releasing alongside Superman were not really loved or appreciated as they should be, and didn't really make a lot of money critically or financially, which really, really, like, was hurting Christopher Reeve, saying that, like, I think my dad was right, that if I do Superman, this iconic character with no one else who can beat him, I think, like, that could be who I end up being, which is kind of a problem, because he wanted to be known for other things besides Superman. But what happened with this was that a lot of people were seeing him as Superman, and he didn't think he lived up to that hero title. He thought, like, I'm just a person like you all are. I'm not this big old hero that Hollywood's made me out to be. And that, like, he doesn't want to play Superman anymore if they're going to end up like this, which I think is very valid. And now, that was the final flashback, but now we skip to October 23rd, 2004. Before this, Christopher Reeves had been doing so many appearances for presidential debates. He had been doing just so many things to, like, help out people. And the CGI thing, that's a whole other story on its own. That's a separate thing on its own. But, yeah, let's skip over that. October 23rd, 2004 is where Christopher Reeves fell into a coma. And then the doctors said that his kids had to get him to the hospital as fast as they could to even give him a chance of living. And, well, they were too late. And when he was in the hospital, his wife yelled, "I love you, I love you, I love you," because she didn't want him to feel like he was alone and that he was going to die alone. And, like, when I'm in 8th grade right now, and I do fall into depressions at times with, like, videos and social stuff, it was the thing that one of Christopher Reeves' youngest son said, that when I said goodbye to my dad, I let him know that I was gonna make him proud, and that I was going to just show him that, like, that he loved his father, that his son loved his father. And after that, his dad passed, and then he said, I've been alone and sad since then. And then word broke out, and then yeah, I think you can pick up the pieces from there. A lot of people fell apart. Why wouldn't you? Like, Superman died. Like what I said earlier, the one person everyone thought, like, was this immortal, invincible being had died. And, like, a lot of people were shocked. And that's how his life ended. But it still continues every day because of the Christopher Reeves and his wife Foundation, which gives a lot of money to people who are in rehab and have other disabilities and are in hospitals. I think that's actually a really, really good message to send out to people. And yeah, that's the movie. That's the Christopher Reeves story. Yeah, this was just an absolute marvel of a film. I was in tears at the end, and movies don't make me cry. And I loved throughout the movie, like, when things were seeming down, kryptonite came out of, like, kryptonite was on the screen, and that was a metaphor for, like Superman's weakness. Superman is just weakening, and yeah, and at the end, kryptonite fully covers Christopher Reeves' body and dies. It's a lot more poetic than how I'm saying it, and this wasn't in the film. I just think this is just disrespectful. I'm just gonna spout this out before I end the video. The Flash Christopher Reeves, that is one way to cherish his memory. It is one way to cherish his memory, but I think that's just cheap. I don't like that Flash cameo. I think it's not the best, but it's not the worst. I did kind of clap when I watched that movie, and he was there. But I think the best way to remember Christopher Reeves is when, I think you've all watched this scene, the first Deadpool scene in superhero history, when he flies up into space, winks at the camera, breaking the fourth wall, and flies away. So yeah, that's it, everybody. If you want more like melancholic Dear Dano style videos like this, yeah, let me know. See my other things. Yeah, that was an amazing movie. Y'all go see it right now. I promise it will be a good use of your time, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye! Christopher Reeves really made an impact.